It is. It is. And here's why it was so intriguing to me. Obviously, all the news last week, right, Scott? I mean, we were all talking about that. Then there were PE discussions out there about certain PE firms that might have interest in maybe a competitive bid. But it was in the afternoon on Thursday, going into the long weekend, where we saw a big buyer. They bought 10,000 of the October 55 calls in one print for $3.70. So somebody out there feels like this will get resolved one way or the other, whomever the bidder is, whether that's somebody else new or is Musk going to maybe team up with maybe Oracle. I mean, that has been some of the talk out there of who would he maybe team up with if he does even indeed team up with somebody else in this acquisition of Twitter. It could be pretty interesting. I think a lot of people would be very interested in being a part of that whole thing, Scott. And so I bought the calls, but instead I bought the October 50 calls, sold the 55 calls, gives me a little bit more room to the downside, and on the upside, I'm okay capping up what my upside would be on that, because I think that the opportunity is there, and the inflated implied volatility of those options, because of that, the buyers that came in there gave me the opportunity to put on that position at a very, very low price. So I like what we're seeing there, and obviously Musk, and you and I have talked about this a couple of times now, but Musk is a guy who's very interesting. We never know exactly what his next move is going to be, but it sure seems to be stirring up the pot right now, and I think there will be other bidders joining in with Musk at some point.
Weiss, you don't buy any of it. You don't think this is going to happen at all.
I don't buy any of it, and nor am I following somebody in who bought 3,000 calls, because I have no idea who they are. They could be the biggest dope in the world and lost 10,000 calls at something else. Look, I just don't, doesn't matter to me either. I don't know who they are, so I don't know if they're smart or dumb. I know they got money, but they could also be hedging a short they have in the stock. So look, here's how I look at it. Musk isn't going to buy it, number one. Number two, the SEC is not done with Musk, because he came out, first he filed as a passive investor and then filed as an active investor while he was already having conversations during his passive filing. So they may come out, as they were going to once before, and said, you know what, you can't be CEO of any public company anymore. What would that do to the bid? I doubt that he would go along. Plus, I don't think there's any value in Twitter for a private equity firm, I may be wrong, or a public firm to acquire it. They've been on the block for years, not for days, not for weeks, not since Musk came in, forever. And nobody stepped up. So now all of a sudden they're going to step up with the stock inflated based upon Musk's illusory bid? I don't think so. So I'd rather stay away and find other places to lose money, which I'm doing okay at, by the way.
Joe?
Yeah, I bet you are.
What's your perspective here, Joe?
My perspective is that if Elon Musk wants to buy Twitter, he will. And the way that he'll do that is just through the price. How is Twitter going to be able to turn down a price that, let's say, is above $54.20? What if he comes in and offers $60? So I like Pete's strategy because it's focusing on the completion of the transaction. After that, my personal view is that Twitter, as a publicly traded company, is literally done. Because if Elon Musk buys the company, you're going to disenfranchise part of the user base, and if Elon Musk doesn't buy it, they're going to disenfranchise part of the user base.
Aren't they already feeling disenfranchised, part of the user base?
100%, but this now just raises it to a crescendo. And find me a publicly traded company that is politically divisive as Twitter actually is, and where politics seems to matter so much to the actual business model. This is, to me, a company that has to be a private company if they're going to increase their free cash flow, which they have no ability to do in the last 5 to 7 years. And to Steve's point, various people have talked about extracting the value. They've been unable to do so. To me, it's just about, okay, where's the final price going to be? And at that point, go off into the sunset, be a private company, and that's the end of knowing Twitter is a publicly traded company.